Nice. No, it's nice. Yeah, totally. Well, definitely don't stop early on my account because I like that you're down here and we can both be doing stuff. It's a good plan. And I'm definitely gonna make a wrap in a few minutes too, so that is also definitely an option. Cool, cool. Righto. So we are doing just a super quick piece of this, which is right now. We go like this. You can see it's not perfectly consistent. There's gaps, and the gaps are not all the same size. Although maybe we're being pretty consistent here, but there you can see we got a way different gap just there, right? And that's the maximum we can put in. Look at that gap between rounds 3 and 4. And it's completely different from the others. And that one's actually not fully seated. So what we want to do now, by touching it, it automatically moved it up to the top as well. So there's the other component there, but that's why we have a missing one there. But before we did that, you could see the gap. And I think it has to do with the fact that we can just get slightly different kind of like tolerances on the spacing as we put these in. You can see there, again, I think it depends on how fast or slowly I put these in. So there you can see those gaps. So what I want to do is every time I fully seat a cartridge, it should just tidy them up. Because we know the thickness of each cartridge. And so we should be able to just calculate the Y position of each cartridge from the top. And go from there. And the top one is always going to be in about the right spot because we've just placed it in that spot explicitly. So we can kind of figure its position from there. But the other ones, we can just space out by multiplying the number and the follower as well, because you can see on this one, initially there was actually a gap under the follower as we were putting it together. So enough talking, let's do it. So if we go in here, let's make a method here called tidy. And And we can give an estimate of this, right? Because they should all be 9 millimeter in diameter, right? So let's say 9. And then, let's see. Oh, not 9. 0.09. And then let's just, we can calculate it from there and see if that actually works. So we'll give this a spin. If we look here, right, and then let's try, we can just actually throw some in here and see how they actually look, because this is going to be the real test. So let's put one of these in at the seated top spot. We need to spin it around the right kind of way, but that's easy enough. Right about there. And then the actual location doesn't really matter. What matters is the spacing. So let's duplicate it. I like how it numbers it wrong. Yeah, it's kind of funny, actually. Let's try it right there. Let's see what we get. So then what we want to do is look at the difference in the position. So it's 31 millimeters right there, and it's 42 millimeters right there. So that's 9, right? Right? Because to get from 42 to, or is it 11? It's 11, isn't it? To get from 31 to 41 would be a 10 millimeter difference, so it's an 11 millimeter difference. So let's try that for starters, and then we can always tweak it. Might make sense to have it be 10, but we'll go with 11. That makes sense, I guess, because the projectile is 9 millimeters, but the case adds some thickness to that, so that's cool. And then we can remove those two just dummy cartridges. We don't need those in there. So now in the tidy, for cartridge in cartridges, and actually we want to loop by captive cartridges. So there we go. Okay. And then from here, we want to say, let's say var I equals 0. Let's say I equals I plus 1. And then now we're just going to make a formula for what that y value should be. So let's put one at the very top. Again, so this is cartridge seated top. We don't really care about the rotation. The y value of it, oh, no, that's not what we want. We can just look at the y value of this guy. Is 47. So that's going to be the base, right? 47 millimeters. Minus I times this variable, cartridge spacing, right? And it's actually transform.origin.y. Great. And then to put the follower in the right place, right, we're just going to have to play around with what looks right for that, right? So if we put a cartridge in here, then we pop it up to the top level. There we go. And then let's slide it kind of down here. That's fine. Now the follower's position is currently 26 millimeters, so we can remember that. And we can just hit the undo button as well. But what we're going to do for a moment is slide it down. Just line it up just so that it just touches that cartridge. So right now it's at negative 28, and the cartridge is at negative 3. So that's a difference, right? 3 to 28. So 3 to 8 is 5, and then it's 20. So 25 below that point. So that's all I needed to know. So let's just hit undo now. Oh. There we go. You can just get rid of that cartridge then. So 25 below the last one. And we can just do this. And then magazine. We have the follower object, don't we? Yeah. Now the model should have the exact same origin, right? Yeah, it does. Okay. So we can refer to it with the same units, and that's good. Equals this same equation minus 0.025. And that should do it. And then if we go up here, when it becomes fully seated, or we might need to listen for when it is released. Let's just do this for now. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's see how that looks. Oh, that crashed. Well, oh, I froze it. Darn it. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. That seems to be doing okay. That looks much more uniform. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Looks pretty good. Looks about right. Honestly, like there's a little bit of daylight between them, so I'd say let's go to 10 millimeters instead of what we had. But oops. Oh, that's funny. The tidy is actually fixing it, kind of. Right, because the other problem we have right now is we don't have the spring up feature. But otherwise, that looks pretty correct. There it goes. Kind of. Alright, so now we are going to have to add the spring up. Let's just adjust the spacing to 10 instead of 11. And I think the follower should go, I think maybe 26, maybe just a little bit below that last one. Let's try it. We could also set the Z position just to avoid them getting out of kilter, you know? Was that full? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's full. Look at that. That looks better. Look at the spring crunched at the bottom there. That looks like ideal. That's cool. I was like, why can't I put another one in? Well, because it's full, smart one. Right. So then the next thing, and there's a little bit of let's see, there's a little gap right there. Yeah, I don't care enough to change it. I think it's fine. No, I do. It's easy. Go back the other way with it. We could specify the Z position. So if you look at the cartridge seated top position, right, the Z is 0.002 millimeters. So we could just set that here. Righto. So that's good. So then what? It's not perfect. You see it actually pulls them back up. That's full. Right. I'm not too worried about it. Really the next thing we need is the spring back. We need it to push them up when you take one out. So that's going to be the next question. How do we want to do that? That's full, I think. Yeah, that's full. Those look pretty sharp, I gotta say. Looks fine. So from here then, how do we want to have them spring out as you remove them? So you remove one, and as it leaves, right, we could just have it jump. Right? Doesn't even have to animate. It can just fly. It can just fly straight up. Look at this. What about this, right? Would that not just do it? Like, this is a really dumb solution, but it would work, right? It would just automatically move them all up one position, you know? So think about this, right? Oh no. Almost. Hang on, let's just try to understand what happened there. Let's put 2 in. There's 1, or 3 maybe. 2, 3. So we can see all 3 of them, right? Now we take 1 out. The follower actually properly snaps up. Oh, you know what? This is still connected, right? If I put another one in, it's going to move that one. Do you see that? That's not supposed to happen. That's not supposed to happen. Captive cartridges pop back. What does pop back do? Because you'd think that would do what it was supposed to do, right? Because then what do we do when we give up the cartridge, right? The cartridges pop back. Now, really, these commands both should go in here, right? But let's think about an array real quick. This is going to be the question, right? So we have an array with eight objects in it, right? So we've got cartridge, cartridge, cartridge. Let's say we've got 3 in here, right? And just to make this easy, let's say cartridges 0 equals, yeah, whatever, cartridge 0. Cartridge 1, cartridges C2, boom. And, but that's actually backwards. Because we want the most recently, it's first in, first out, right? First in, first out. So the most recently inserted one should be in the topmost position. And if we're using append, which we are, right? So when we add a cartridge, we're doing captive cartridges.append, right? Right? So if we draw very artistically here, right? Our magazine. You get fancy with this. Oh yeah. Beautiful. And we have 3 cartridges that are actually in here. Right? Now I'm gonna mess it up because I'm not gonna draw very good. I don't want to waste time drawing super great high quality drawings of bullets in here, but let's go for it. Right. Okay. This is C2. This is number 2. Right. This is number 1 for 0 indexing this. And this is 0, right? Masterfully drawn. Excellent. Okay. This one is 0. Right. If we pop, we want this one to come out. We want to remove this round. So let's look up how we do that with Godot. So what's Godot? What's pop front do? There you go. It doesn't have a normal pop. It has pop front, pop back. Removes and returns the first element of the array. Returns null if the array is empty, without printing an error message. See also pop back. Pop back, which is what we want, removes and returns the last element of the array. It removes it. So what we have is logically sound. So let's see if there may be if we're maybe like double adding them, perhaps. Let's see. We got it in there. 1, 2, 3. We take this one out. I think this one's not. I think this one's still in the array. Yeah, see, look at that. I just moved it just like that, see? Yeah, it's weird. It's not correctly removing it from the array. So let's add some debugging to that. I think I'm going to pause for a minute, but that's where we're going to pick it back up.